Hey guys, welcome back. So this is a targeting systems explained video, if you will. So I explain both targeting systems and what they do and don't do. And some of it might be useful to you, and probably a good portion of it you may already do. So this is based on my own experiences within the game. So obviously other people are going to have different experience. So we'll get into my hangout and we'll just explain what's going on here. Okay, here we are to talk about targeting. So one of the main things that is probably either hindering you or really helping you is your targeting within the game. So there are two targeting systems, and we'll scroll down in a minute. But yeah, I'm going to start with vertical targeting. So this is going to pain me. This is going to kill me to change this. But yeah, so here's your two separate targeting systems. Vertical is the one you really want, and we're going to switch it to wide. I'm going to hate this. So we'll switch it to wide. Now, this is not the targeting system you're going to want to use when you get to late game and end game playing, but when you first enter the game, and I think it's deliberately set this way, there's a lot of aiming assist with this particular targeting system. So you can pull off some shots that, it's quite tricky. You jump with a lancer and shoot them with RPGs and all that sort of stuff. It's a little bit more difficult to do that with the vertical system. But anyway, so the other problem, and this is not something I really would recommend players to do, is switching targeting systems all the time. One, you're not going to get used to the game well, so you'll be constantly tricking your brain. You're better off to get used to one targeting system and preferably vertical, because that's what you really want to use later on in the game, and become proficient with that targeting system. But two, it does this. Now, I run a custom setup, and this is not my setup. This is the default setup. So now I have to push everything around just so I can play kind of effectively to show you how these things work. So give me a second. I'm going to roughly push all this around, and then we'll talk a bit more. So just give me a second. So tip that up. I'm not going to take all the transparency out. I'm just going to leave it like that, because I'm only going to have to do this again in a minute when I'm finished playing with vertical for the purposes of the video. Anyway, so this is what I would suggest players to do. And I know there's a couple that don't change the layout, but again, from what I was saying, I wouldn't recommend switching from vertical back to wide and then back to vertical again, because it's just going to reset all of this again, and then you've got to go through and change it back to where it suits you. Now, I set up my button positions, so best suits for my thumb positions. I do adjust the directional button a little bit, but all of my targeting and aiming and shooting and all that sort of stuff, the ability button is all pushed to a point where my thumb moves up and down my screen. Now, I play off a mobile phone. I don't play off an iPad or a tablet, if you will. So everything's fairly close. So it's set up, it's kind of like when you're driving a car, you adjust all your mirrors and you adjust the seat, and if you've got an adjustable steering wheel, you adjust the steering wheel to best suit you while you're driving so you're comfortable. It's the same with this. You adjust all of this stuff so it's nice and ergonomic and nice and comfortable for you to use, and so your brain doesn't have to think about where the buttons are once you get used to setup. So now, the other thing I will say about this is roughly set it where you want the stuff, and then fine tune it as you go. Now, I've done a lot of fine tuning as I've gone with my button positions. So yeah, and this is the rough setup. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. There's not really much more I can talk on this sort of stuff. Maybe for sensitivity. So with wide targeting, this sensitivity is very low. So when I was playing wide targeting, I had to tune my camera sensitivity right up to like 90%. That'll make it flicky enough for you to move around and do your head checking. We'll talk about a car reference again. Same like when you're driving a car, you check your mirrors, you check your shoulder, over your shoulder and everything else. You're always looking around to make sure you're not going to run into someone or someone's not going to run into you. Same with the game. So I do a lot of looking around to make sure nothing is flanking me. It doesn't always work because blah, blah, blah. But yeah, sensitivity for vertical targeting needs to be, for wide targeting needs to be tuned right up so that it's flicky enough to move around and see what you're doing. I don't want to do that. I'll leave that at it's 50. In saying that though, this is some of the things that you can probably really tune up for when you're using vertical, your X and Y axes, but we'll get into that later. I don't invert anything because I don't like inverted controls, but some people do. The crosshair is only cosmetic as far as I can tell. It doesn't really make any difference. The damage display and everything again is only really cosmetic. It's only so if you want to know how much damage you're doing, I have it set here because I want to see everything, but it's up to you. There's our targeting, and then I have it set so that I have to tap for ammo reload. I don't like the swiping up or any of that sort of stuff. I tried it. It doesn't really suit me. So again, a lot of your control setup is going to be of your own preference. But yeah, I would definitely recommend customizing where your controls sit. Anyway, we'll sign it off at that, and I'll get into a few games, which is going to be painful, but yeah, I'll get into a few games with vertical targeting just to show you what it does do. Okay, so you've watched this far. Clearly you've already worked out that the games I was going to play after changing to wide targeting are the ones I put as a preview in the corner while I discussed the targeting system. So we'll point out a couple of things here. One with the javelins here. This is one of the advantages to wide targeting, is that you can lock your target and you can bend your rockets like crazy. I'm not doing it as much as I possibly could, but you can push that almost to the very edge of the screen and fire a javelin, and it will bend around most objects. You would have also noticed that I was jumping a fair bit with my Lancer before, and I was using RPGs. It's quite easy to do with that too, because it does not, with wide targeting, it sets your vertical aiming. That's good for that sort of gameplay, but when you get to disc launches where you don't want to, you want to be able to spam, it's quite a hindrance. It doesn't allow you to lift or drop your aim, and if you're trying to aim, you're trying to spam something on the other side of the map, and it picks up a target on the left, for example, it'll set at that height. So yeah, there is quite a bit of restriction with wide targeting. So yeah, all right, we'll finish this up, and we'll get into just discussing vertical targeting now. Okay, now that we've got that part of targeting systems out the way, let's get back to where I'm comfortable with. Although that was a pretty good effort with wide targeting. So, first thing we're going to do here, switch back to vertical targeting. Again, like I said, vertical targeting is what you're going to use after mid game, or if you want to use it earlier, by all means use it earlier. It will make your disc launches a lot more effective. Then we are going to tune our sensitivity back down to 45 is where I had it. And I will point out one thing here, right? When I was learning how to use vertical targeting, I actually tuned it back down to about 30, 35. It slows it right down, gets you used to using vertical targeting, especially if you've been using wide for a long time. But yeah, and then as I gradually got used to it, I tuned it up bit by bit. So, 35, 40, and now I run it at about 45. There's a reason why I run it at about 45. It kind of is like a one-size-fits-all for me. It's kind of like a balanced setup. It makes it so it's not far too oversensitive for my sniping. Again, like I said, I play off a mobile phone, so everything is accentuated. It's a 5-inch screen. But it also gives me enough response to be useful with the disc launchers. And I'm still learning to adapt to it as we go. Again, because I've switched back, here we are, we need to reset all of this. So again, I'm going to run and move everything around and push that back up to, bloody thing, push that back up to 150 or I think it was 150. Sitting there, I'm a little bit OCD, so it's got to be like an even number. This one went back to 80 for memory. And I've got a screenshot of my setup, so I can go back later and fix it all. These all went back to about 80 as well. And we'll bring our left fire button over, back to 80. Yep. And all that just pushes up over there. I try and push my fire button, all my fire buttons and that as far over as possible. Again, like I say, I'm playing off a mobile phone. Everything is close. This one, I keep it where it's kind of roughly where the default is. So yeah, the only thing I do, and this is more for a visual thing, is drop my opacity down to about 50%. It might even be less than that, but 50 will do for now. Here, I actually think I leave them up. I can't even remember. And then my ability I leave up, and then drop all the other ones back down to 50%. Just, it's more for when I record. They're not in your face and in the way, but yeah, there's the OCD acting up. It must be 50. There we are, 50, 50, and back to 51. Bugger it. Come on. There we go. So, this is what I was saying about customizing your setups. Again, like I was saying, it's all economic. This suits me. It may not suit you. Set it up to suit yourself. Again, like I said in the previous part of this, it's like getting in and driving a car. You'd be shorter than me, so you'd have to readjust your chair forward and your seat forward, and your mirrors have to, you get the general gist. But yeah, this is probably the part that I would really recommend. Just adjusting everything to suit yourself. It will give you better gameplay, or my opinion is it'll give you better gameplay because it'll be where your fingers or thumbs will best operate. Alright, we'll get back out of that. Leave our sensitivity at 45. No, we do not want to set that at bloody maxed out. All the crosshair and that stays the same. All the damage display stays the same. I just don't know why it gets rid of your custom setup. So that really should be changed. But it's Polarium, and they can't even fix some of the things that people really want done. So I can't imagine they'll change that. Anyway, we'll give this a go now. We'll use the same hanger just to show you the difference, because yeah. And then I might just come back and have a quick chat, and then I'll drop in my main hanger with all the disc launcher builds and everything else, and just show you the difference of how disc launchers operate. But anyway, thanks again. We'll go and have a bit of a play now, eh?
Get out of my way.
Okay, so clearly you can tell that the games I was going to play after my little discussion about vertical targeting, I played it during my discussion, so yeah. That's how I did it. Anyway, this is my main hanger. This is my Red Ops running DL16s, and I am not the most proficient in the game at using disc launchers, but I'm not too bad. So this is the thing I really was trying to stress about using vertical targeting, is that you can lift your aim and hit things, hit objects like ceilings, walls, all that sort of stuff. Oh, look at that, I got a Red Ox kill. Look, Papa's over there helping me too, so Papa joins in on a few games with him. He's a good mate from my clan, so yeah, why not feature him in a video. So there we go. So up on the ceiling or up on the object behind gives him rear damage, kills him very quickly. Same again, hit behind him on the floor. A couple of them actually got on the lock target, on the guided part of it. Disc launchers are actually quite broken because they're listed as a guided weapon, but they are most useful as an unguided weapon. They're more like a missile rack type thing with the splash and stuff, although they don't look like missiles. They're best used with the splash rather than actually hitting the target directly. So this is why you really want to use vertical targeting. It makes your disc launchers very effective because you get a lot more rear damage, side damage, rather than hitting directly with the discs. Hitting directly with the disc is not great damage, but hitting the rear is awesome damage, and you'll kill a maxed bot in 2 to 3 shots. You know, so again, we run the Redox. This map is really, really good for discs if you can position yourself well. I actually hate this map personally myself, but yeah. Again, sitting in the center here, just spamming around, just trying to hit walls. You can hit the barriers. You can see that the bots is actually spamming a few. But again, up on the top, rear damage, took him straight out. Oh, running out of battery power. Right, there we go. See, on the floor, up on the object, just testing the waters. It's close. Oh, Papa's taking him out. Nice work, Papa. Oh, there we go. See, spam the building, 3 shots, took out a maxed bot. So that's why you want vertical targeting, so you can lift your vertical aiming right up and above everything. Like I said, diesel launchers are broken because it doesn't seem to matter how high above something you hit, the splash still works. Although the splash is actually quite wide, as you can see. So, what else to say? There's not really much. Yeah, vertical targeting is where you're aiming at. Alright, I'll let you finish watching this. I'll come back and say a little bit at the end, and then we'll sign him off. And there we have it, done and dusted. That was a bot game. I had Papa in there with me. Papa's good fun to play with, but hey, 12 kills with the Redox and 5 assists, all thanks to using vertical targeting and just choosing where I can spam my my disc launchers. Like I said, I'm not the most proficient, and if you watch back in my channel, I actually got owned by an MTM team. Both of us did. But hey, I'm not pushing you to use vertical targeting or whatever. It's your own choice, your own setup, so set it up to suit yourself. Your sensitivity and everything else, but you just test it and fine tune it, and then yeah, see how you go. If you really want your disc launchers to sing, then you do need vertical targeting, but it does affect your other weapons a little bit, so just be wary of that. Anyway, boys and girls, I hope this has been quite useful information. Like and subscribe, give me a few comments, don't be nasty, but everything was based on my own experiences, and I'll catch you next time. Enjoy your games, guys.